All right, Working Class on DeerCast, another episode. It's like an early morning episode. We're all drinking coffee, having a good time. Eric's having a Mountain Dew. For a lot of people, that's kind of like their coffee. Respect it. Kurt Geyer here.
Doug Schmidt.
Eric Hammond.
Scott Sullivan.
Nick Wittwer.
So you guys are like, I don't know, we have different co-hosts all the time. Eric, you've never been on a Working Class on DeerCast episode.
No, this is my first time.
And
Oh, whoa.
Yep.
you guys are buddies of ours who both killed good deer this year.
Thank you.
Congrats.
And you guys came on out to the studio to hang out and drink coffee with us.
Heck yeah.
We're adults,
We are.
I hate
right? Scotty, who are you and where are you from?
Well, I'm Scott Sullivan. I'm from Geneseo, Illinois. Grew up in Port Byron. And, like to shoot deer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nick?
I'm from Wisconsin, New Glarus. I'm married, 2 kids, and same thing. I just love killing deer, being in the woods.
That's what it's about, man. That's what it's
right.
about. Well, thanks for doing this with us.
We do too.
Yeah.
You guys both killed good deer. Scotty killed a buck that I've been kind of calling it the Snort Wheeze buck.
Oh, yeah.
Because the story is hilarious.
Yeah.
Because Scotty, you dove in recently like heavily into traditional archery.
Yeah. Yep.
Talk about that a little bit, because to me, I will do it one day, but I think you're crazy a little bit. But I respect it
But
at
he
the same
like
time.
dove in.
Well, Scotty doesn't do anything just a little bit. Like you
Yeah.
go all in when you find something you like.
I go stupid with it.
But I think that's fun, right? I mean, it keeps you entertained.
Yeah. Yeah. Last year, that's when I dove into it pretty heavy. I sold my compound. Like, that's how hard I went into it. Sold all my...
Well, I didn't know you did that. I didn't know you sold it all together.
Yeah, I missed like 15 deer last year with a longbow. It was fun, but like after like the 10th one, I'm like, all right, something's gotta happen. And I actually shot a doe January 9th.
Oh yeah,
Last year.
late.
Yeah,
Come
so that
down
was
to the
pretty
last
cool.
days.
It's like, hey, I did it. I finally
Right.
did it.
Yeah.
8-yard shot on a doe.
It's a big
pretty sweet.
accomplishment.
Yeah, it was sweet. And I had that same mentality. I was like, well, I could do it. And I went into this year doing that. I went out to South Dakota with my recurve, which I don't know why I even did that. That was stupid. And I was like, well, I come back home, go after it at home, get close to stuff at home, and had one of my bucks at like 52 yards. I want to say October 3rd. And
So
there I
like
am.
right away.
Yeah, and there I am just sitting with my recurve. I'm like, yeah, I can't do anything about this.
Sick, bro.
That's awesome.
Sick.
I love watching deer.
closer.
I love watching your bird watcher. You're done.
Yeah,
You just
yeah.
give him the parade wave as he walks by.
Smile and wave, boys. Smile and wave.
So then, I was like, man, I like to have a wall just full of big deer.
Like a resume. If you
Yeah,
will.
I'd like to start building on that. And I don't think I could do it with a recurve, but
Just take a lot longer.
yeah, it'd take a whole lot longer.
a lot longer. Your skills got to be on point.
Yeah.
and it's just
Yeah,
harder.
You literally got to shoot every day. Like I gap shoot with it. So like I take a week off from it. It's like
Explain
it
gap
all-
shooting, because there might be people watching or listening. They're like, "What the hell is gap shooting?"
So I use the tip of my arrow to aim,
Okay.
and like I don't even really use a rangefinder doing it. It's just all, vision memory. And so like 35 yards was like my point on. So the tip of my arrow is directly where I want to hit. And
Oh,
then,
gotcha. Yeah.
like anything 26 and closer, the tip of my arrow is about 8 to a foot low to where I wanted to hit. So you just draw a straight line up, and then sometimes it works and sometimes it don't. But
Wow. Nice.
Sometimes it just doesn't.
I'd have really good days shooting, and then there'd be days I'd fling like 3 arrows. I'm like, nah, I ain't doing this
Not
today.
feeling it.
Yeah.
Not feeling it.
Just wasn't shooting good. And you got to do that with traditional, because if you just I feel like you keep pushing through it, you're just going to get worse.
I get that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of like. Does this apply like the practice makes perfect, but perfect practice makes perfect?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Because form and repetition with traditional is like everything.
Right.
And you start capitalizing on something bad, you're just going to follow with that. So
It's almost like you dig your hole deeper, and
Yep.
you're like, I get what you're saying.
Yeah. But no,
So October 3rd, you're parade waving.
Yeah.
At deer.
Yeah. And I kept going out and I texted a buddy of mine and I'm like, dude, you got a compound I can just bum for like a little bit. I'm like, because there's this one buck.
You're
I'm
like
like,
an
it just needs to, yeah. I'm like, it needs to die.
I need to kill him. Yeah.
I'll pay you back, I promise.
Yeah. And
Skips town.
I want to say it was, he let me bum one and I got all sighted and stuff, ready to go.
How'd it feel shooting a compound again?
It was nice. It was nice.
Wheels are for cars.
Yeah. And I want to say it was October 20th. And the one farm I hunt, my stepmom's farm, for like the past 3 years, like it turns on the 20th to like the 27th. Mm-hmm. And I get a lot of buck photos then. And I had this one, I thought it was a buck from 2017. I thought it was this buck I named Towers. Mm-hmm. And I thought he was on his downside. And I'm like, dang, he actually like, he's lived a while. And the pictures I had of him were like, I'm like, he's a brute. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I actually saw him, I want to say the 20th or the 21st. And 45 yards coming down into the woods, like kind of away on the backside of my food plot. I didn't have any calls with me or nothing. Like I was like, instead of just being like, meh,
Right.
I was like, and he just bolted off. Like I stood there for like 10 minutes. I'm like, why did I do that? Like, I'm so stupid. I'm like, yeah, I just blew him out of this farm.
I think you called me like, how long after that did you, because you called me shortly after, right?
Oh yeah, it was like probably 20-30 minutes after. I'm like, dude, did I just mess this up, Roy?
Hey, you know how
I'm an
I know
idiot.
I'm stupid?
Well, yeah.
I'm such an idiot.
Well, it happened. Austin Chandler was in the studio, and I was telling him the story, and he thought it was pretty funny. Because it wouldn't have been as funny, but the way you called me and were like you knew.
Yeah.
I was like, you didn't like set him up with like a grunt or like you just hit him with a hard snort wheeze right up there. I was like, well, you scared the living hell out of him. I think, first of all, and
It wouldn't be as funny either if it didn't come from Scottie.
Yeah.
Like I didn't even like he was just cruising. Like he wasn't like
Minding his
slow
own business.
walking. Yeah. And I stand up in my bow and I'm like he just takes off. Like I'm like
Whoops.
oh, Doug, that's
like,
the
yeah,
first one to
sweet.
say the F word on a jury
Gee, dang it.
episode.
That's not surprising.
All right,
but
Doug, you got to put
Dollar
that's
in the jar.
That's $10 to Make-A-Wish Foundation.
Wow.
but
Doug won.
We should do that on the jury series every time someone cusses.
Oh, that's a good idea. Then
It
just
is.
have beer
Just put a
money or
snort and
just
wheeze.
to
Just
go
put
to
a
the
snort and
depot
wheeze
after
over
that.
it.
$10 to Make-A-Wish Foundation.
Just put a snort and wheeze over it.
yeah.
We'll fix it. I'll have Matt invoice you. So
But yeah,
Doug's like, dang it.
I got him on camera on the same plot like 3 days later. Mm-hmm. Well, he liked a southeast wind, and
So you scared him, but you didn't scare him too bad.
yeah. Well, Kurt was telling me, he's like, if you scared him that bad, he's like, more than likely there's something bigger in there, and he's not. He's like,
Or you just scared the heck out of him.
the crap out of him, and it's like, well, I'll keep hunting it. I had him, every picture I had of him in the plot was on a southeast wind, and I knew my stand was good for that wind. And I think I killed him on a straight south wind because I went up to there's my plot's right below the hill from a cornfield.
Was it the first south after a bunch of norths?
Northwest wind?
And then
I would say yeah.
Mark had,
And then it
I
just
learned that
whipped
from
right
Mark this
around.
year is the first south after a bunch of north winds is
Really good.
supposed to be really good. Yeah. Just curious.
And so there was a bunch of deer piling out into the field, and he came into the far. He was probably 200 yards out when he walked into the field, and it was actually the calmest I've ever been seeing. A buck I was after. Mm-hmm. I was just I replaying it in my head after I shot him.
Do not snort wheeze.
Yeah,
The urge to snort wheeze for Scottie was so strong.
200 yards out, just trying.
He should.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
His hand over his mouth. Don't do it.
Just breathing heavy.
We're gonna call you Scottie Snort Wheeze from now on.
And I just watched him do his thing, and I had a couple does walk out in front of me. I had a doe with 2 fawns with her, and stuff was just kind of ramping up. I'm like, and he kept looking over towards me and them. I'm like, he's gonna do something with that doe, and sure as crap.
I can say shit on the
Hey, I don't know.
but I'll still put you down for Matt to invoice you.
But he got to about 80 yards and he started chasing that doe around, and he was gone for about an hour. Mm-hmm. And that doe came out back into the field right where he chased her in. And I actually did call him in. It was actually pretty sweet.
You didn't Snort Wheeze out.
No.
Not.
No, I wasn't doing that. And I grunted at him, and he looked over towards me and was kind of like, nah, whatever. Mm-hmm. And I did like a tending grunt, like, you know, just kind of
like
crazy.
Another buck on a doe or whatever, yeah.
And that really stopped him. And he looked at me. He looked my way for like 20 minutes, just scanning.
Yeah, which is a good thing because, you know, you got their, like,
attention.
You piqued their interest a little bit, yeah.
And then I did just a real deep, long growl at him. And that was like hook, line, and sinker.
Really?
Yeah, because he started walking, and he started walking west, and he walked straight up the tree line, like hooked around, like trying to get my wind. And he walked right where I walked on the edge of the field. Mm-hmm. That's why I was kind of like,
oh, crap.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And no, it was like a 9-yard shot.
Money.
Yeah, done. Buried it into the opposite shoulder. He was dead out in the middle of the field, 40 yards.
Oh, he died in the field.
Yeah.
Man, that's a
I
good
watched
feeling.
him go down. It was
very
sweet,
good
man.
feeling.
Man, so you're back on the Wheels Are for Cars team.
Yeah. I'm killing everything now.
Yeah, but that's what happens though when you take your compound out there. He's at 9 yards.
That's
If you have
true.
a
I know,
recurve,
right.
he's at 50 yards.
Yeah.
That's how it always works.
Yeah, my doe and my buck this year were both like 11 yards, 9 yards. The doe was 11, my buck was 9.
That's crazy.
That's funny how it works. Well, normally, like when we used to gun hunt, you know, I'd have a tough season or same circumstance, but like 1 year, I think the last time I gun hunted in Illinois was like 2010. I killed a pretty good buck, and I see him out at like 100 yards. I'm like, I don't know if I want to shoot him, and he had like a good brow, and you know, he was far enough I couldn't shot him with a bow. Mm-hmm. And I have a muzzle loader, and here he comes, pops up on the ridge right next to me, 10 yards, and I'm like, smoke, you know what I mean? Smoke pulled him right there, and I'm like, it would have been perfect with a bow, and I've waited all season. Yeah. So yeah, it's just the way it works, I think.
Well, like,
don't move.
even my gun bucks, my big one was like 10, 12 yard shot.
Yeah.
And I put all 3 slugs into him. I pumped that gun faster than anybody.
You're 173 or whatever he was. Yeah.
And that was,
Make sure it wasn't going anywhere.
Yeah. I hit him in the shoulder, the midsection, and then the ass.
Yeah, you were young when you shot that deer, weren't you?
Yeah, I was 16.
This buck, have you guys seen this deer?
Yeah.
In person, it is.
Not in I don't think we've seen it in person.
think
I think
so
just
either.
in pictures.
It nets 170, don't it?
Yeah.
I believe, because I measured it
It was
11 years ago now.
Yeah.
Probably actually 11 years ago. Mm-hmm. It's huge, but it's like kind of spindly.
Yeah.
Like as far like the tines, you can grab the 2 and the 3 and squeeze them together, and you can see it like flexes.
Oh,
Like,
really?
I
Yeah.
can't believe he never broke anything off.
I know. Well, I'd get drunk and do that. I'm like, I'm going to be the idiot that breaks one off.
Snaps
Just be mad.
Starts
Don't do
using it as a stern stick.
It's a really impressive buck.
Yeah.
But so anyway, yeah, I mean, that's how it works though. It's like when you have whatever, you take it though. I mean, it's cool to make a great shot. I like when you hit that offside shoulder because it's like it worries you at first if like you can be like, oh, I shouldered him. You know what I mean? Then I didn't get penetration. But if you see it how it actually is, if you hit the offside shoulder, it's like, man, you know you hit everything you need
You
to hit.
hit everything going to that shoulder. So
Yeah, so I like it when that happens. Like my latest buck, I hit offside shoulder, and I was just like, "Ooh, he's done.
You're done.
You know what I mean? You have like that confidence, and then to watch him go down in an open field where you can drive right up to it, and like, you just know, like 1, you're successful, and 2, it's easy to get them out.
Yeah.
which is a bonus.
yeah, there's nothing better than seeing them go down.
You even if you know you smoked a buck and he goes over the hill and you don't see him go down or hear him go down, I feel like you're always like, man, I thought that shot
Did
was
I actually
good.
smoke him?
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you always question things because you don't know.
Even if it was like, that was perfect, you're like, man, all right, I'm going to give him a couple hours.
Right.
And that goes back to kind of like Austin's situation on his 190.
Yeah.
It's like,
Or he goes over the hill and you're like, you hear something like, did he crash?
Yeah, did he crash?
yeah.
And then you start thinking even more. You're like, well, I don't know if that was him crashing or not.
Yeah, it
You
could have
just
been a
start thinking
squirrel
stuff.
running when he came over the hill. Well, your big buck, Doug, the 17-inch G2 buck, you smoked him, right? But you were unsure.
I thought I was a little back, but I was actually, he was quartering to me a little bit more than I thought, so it came out perfect. So we gave him like an hour and a half. Yeah.
Quartering away from you?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So I actually smoked him. He only went 100 yards, I think.
Yeah.
He didn't make it off
Yeah.
the ridge.
Yeah, but you gave that buck a little bit of time just in case, yeah. But
And the coyote still got in there a little bit.
it's a force to be reckoned with. But
Yeah, I hit that buck, and it was like I hit him with a slug. You know, and you punch him in the shoulders, like like stiff leg the front legs, and he was even like he grunted like oh,
Oh.
yeah,
and like started running off. Yeah, and he piled up. I hung my bow up, and I was like, like just started freaking out, like
Just start snorting and wheezing.
yeah.
I can finally let it out.
the urge to snort wheeze. Well, Scottie snort wheeze.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
Snorting Scotty.
Yeah, yeah, it was awesome, man. That was one of the. I'd say that is the first deer that I've put like in a pattern, and like this year I was like, wow, I actually figured that out.
Yeah, you
Like,
called me a couple times on this deer, man, and
Yeah,
so I mean, you pulled it off. It's pretty awesome.
yeah, it was. That was like my most accomplished buck, I'd say. Like patterning him out.
Yeah.
and like where he's coming, like bedding to food, and I was like, man, I actually put it together this time. Like it's not just like get a buck on camera and you just hunt that property.
Yeah.
And hope he comes by.
What type
Yeah.
of mount are you going to do on him?
I don't know. I just got that one mount back from Old Barn. I'd probably do that same mount, but doing the other way.
Beautiful mount. Yeah.
Yeah, because
like
I have
a wall pedestal style.
Yeah, because I have a pedestal. I'd like to put two of them on it.
There you go.
That'd be really cool.
So they're
have 'em.
kind of
I've always
Yeah.
wanted to do that.
looking at each other.
What is it like? Break for people just listening. We can always overlay photos on the video side, but describe the buck? What is he?
He's a 9 point. He's pretty tall. He's a real tall, narrow rack. But he's like his body was like his neck. I just thought he was massive.
Yeah.
I thought it was that buck from 2017. I thought it was him on his downfall because when I compared those two pictures, it was so close to like their main frame. I was like, man, this has got to be him. Like he's just got to be like a super old buck. And then our buddy Mark came over and like caped out the skull, and he's like, no, dude. Like, I'm like, yeah, so just give me it. You know, just give me that.
Just like lie to me.
Yeah. He's like, he's probably like 3.5.
Mark's so brutally honest, but so nice.
Yeah.
So nice about it.
Which I mean, I'd like him being that way, you know.
Well, yeah, he's not.
Yeah.
You'd rather just know.
But I'm still like, I'm sending the teeth off. Like, whatever, Mark.
You're a
wrong.
liar, and I'm going to prove
You're
you
wrong.
wrong.
He's had really nice teeth.
I mean, a buck from 2017 though, it could be an offspring of him if they're that similar.
If it, yeah, dude, I'll show you guys pictures later that they're like identical. It's
Right.
pretty sweet.
Yeah.
But Towers was like, he had beer can bases. Like he was just super tall, narrow, and like it looked like beer cans off the top of his head. It was sweet.
I love the beer can comparison because
Yeah.
I know exactly. Like it's just
Oh,
a
yeah.
good way to like. Oh yeah, because Nick, the buck you shot this year had beer can bases. I think.
Yeah, he's
From what you showed me.
yeah. I'll have to bring him over and you'll measure him for me. But yeah, just it's crazy. You can barely wrap your fingers around.
That's awesome.
I lose track. So all of our buddies, I lose track of like who killed what, and like,
yeah.
and then I lose track of like what's a reshared deer. Like if I see it on Facebook or
Yeah.
like the group, because Nick did a lot of the work. You were kind of the foreman on the studio construction here. So round of applause for Nick.
Yep.
Because you were, man, you were the job foreman on a lot of it. You and Eric kind of led the projects, and
We'd still be working on it if Nick wasn't here.
we might be. The studio would be
sure
done,
the
but
bar.
everything else would not
Yeah.
be done. Nick came out. I mean, you came out for a weekend.
Yeah, no,
Kicked ass.
it was fun. Yeah,
I mean, the bar got like basically everything but like stain and epoxy and all that stuff.
That first night I rolled in, I don't know, I got here like late. It was like 8:30. Me and Eric started framing the bar like right
we
away.
started right away.
Yeah.
Like, we're here. We might as well start doing something.
I think we worked on it until like midnight. So we had most of the frame up that night, and just kept plugging away all weekend.
It helped that we were all excited. Like, we had just got the place.
Yeah.
And so we were like just wanting to hang out here
to get it all done.
Yep.
Yeah. It worked out. The time worked out. But I mean, yeah, you killed it, man. You did, I don't know how much work, a lot, but the majority. So you're the, this is like your second home. So anytime you need to come here, you have
I appreciate it.
we're going to get you a big golden key, key to the studio.
Just got to throw it through the front door.
You have to get in.
The key don't actually work. Just throw it through the glass.
Yeah, it's just part of the thing, part of the deal. But as a thank you, we set you up with some stuff, and
Oh man,
you put it to work this year, man.
Yeah. So I mean, I've been bow hunting for, what has it been now? 8 years, something like that. And yeah, I had an old Diamondback Bowtech that my buddy gave me, and I've been shooting that for years and had a lot of success with it and everything. But it's basically a child's bow. Like, it's real small, and anybody knows what anybody that knows what the Diamondback is like, it's real, which I like because I've killed a lot of deer on the ground too, inspired by whitetail adrenaline. But you guys set me up with that Elite Cure, and that thing was just a game changer. And this was my first single pin sight too. And I'm not gonna lie, it kind of messed me up a little bit, like trying to sight it in, like this is really screwing with me. I'm used to all my pins and everything. But after I got used to that, it just opens up everything. Like everything's so, and how you can actually fine tune that thing and go by the exact yard is just crazy.
That's my favorite. And we're talking about HHA. Because a lot of people, that's a question a lot of people have. It's like, man, what did you have a deer at 20? Well, I live by my rangefinder. It sits like a loophole rangefinder sits on all of our chests, I think. And if a buck's at 28 yards, instead of shooting them for 20 and aiming a little high, or 30 and compensating or whatever, 28 yards.
Yep.
A buck's at 52 yards, 52 yards. You're not.
Yeah, there's no splitting pins. It's just right there.
And that's what I think people, I find I make better shots.
You're more confident.
I'm shooting for the yard that the target is actually at.
And I'm a real advocate too. I take my 20-yard pin and start backing up and see when that arrow starts to drop out.
Yeah.
Because then I know I can get like 32 yards with my 20-yard pin
Before it's like out of
a major drop, right?
HHA has a bunch of really good videos on their YouTube that breaks all that down. That's anytime someone's like, hey man, I have a question. I'm like, man, their YouTube is so good. It's better than I'll explain to you in a message. And it's visual. So if you need help, it's there. But I'm glad you're liking it.
Oh, it's so much fun. And even so after I got this is where I shoot my deer usually and everything, and getting all those fine tuned, and then going the next step and let's just have some fun and shooting at 70, 80 yards. And it's just fun to watch your arrow arc that much. So it's been a blast. And pretty much as soon as you guys sent that, I was shooting that literally every day.
And that was my bad. I should have shipped it out a lot sooner.
No, it's fine. it was in the right timing, but it's because I got everything set up and good to go. So so going into the season, I felt super confident.
Good.
Screw that. No, I mean Bowtech still makes good stuff, but still
everybody makes good bows.
Let's go. So and I hunt a decent amount of public, and then I got a few. The private pieces that I hunt are interestingly set up, but it's I'll take it.
Oh yeah.
So, and it was just weird this year with work, and I'm self-employed. So just trying to get that timing in. So that's where the DeerCast thing comes in really handy. Because it's I'm going to have to work this weekend, then you have kids, and then you just throwing all that stuff. It's really trying to cram in good days to hunt and make it worth your time.
Yeah.
And all the work that you do put in.
That's the number one value, I think, in DeerCast.
Yeah. It really breaks it down for you. So that's been great using that. So I went out a few times on a public piece that's near to me in New Glarus, and was seeing deer, and just nothing that was really getting me too excited. And then it was first week in November. I finally work was getting a little bit more reasonable, and my wife's family, they have this vineyard, and back in the day it used to be just deer crazy, but the way they have it, they've torn so much down. It's I don't know how many acres. It is actually vines, so the deer don't use it that much. Now there's this finger of woods and then bluff on each side, so you can hunt it, but you really have to make sure these are the only days you're going to go in there, because once you're in there too much, the deer just they move.
Do the
around
deer
them.
eat a lot of those grapes?
They used to back in the day, because when he first started that, like he had the damage control tags for me and everything, and I had to work on that, because like it was but now it's been set up for, I want to say like 5 years, and they kind of do their thing a little bit, but not like to the point where he has to get crop damage tags or anything like that.
Right. I see a bunch of deer with like purple lips.
Yeah, exactly.
What are you sipping on the wine over there? Or what?
And the neighbors who butt against that, there's one guy who does a TV show and he hunts really hard. And then another guy across the parcel who he's got a huge food plot. So I know they're going in there. So it works, but you just got to pick your days and know what to go in there. But it was that weekend, November 6th, I went in there and did a hang and hunt on that and got set up. And I even got in there later than I wanted to be. Mm-hmm. But it was like 2 o'clock and the rut activity was just insane. There were bucks chasing everywhere. And I think I saw 8 bucks that night, and they were all shooters.
Oh, really?
But nothing like a really nice 10 that I got. There's no way I could have stopped him. Like he was on a doe, and he's just it's not. But like it was right before last light. I heard one on the other side of the bluff, and I had my mad call, that buck growl.
Yeah.
And
the old school one.
Yep,
it's old school now, which is funny.
Oh yeah, and let a long rip on that, and just put it away. Picked up the bow, and I had this beautiful 8 come walking right into it. He knows what was up. He's looking for it and everything. He comes in 34 yards, draw back, squeeze off, and right at the last second, it hits a limb and just boom, right in front of his hoof from the front. He goes just bolting off, and I'm just like, you idiot. And my reaction was just, and he actually stopped and looked right at me.
Oh,
I'm
like pinpointed you.
I'm like, I can't believe he stopped. And then I'm like standing there with my no arrow knocked again. I'm like, well, so I grabbed another arrow, drew back again. I guessed him at about 40 yards and squeezed off, and it went low, but I couldn't tell if I hit him or not. So then I was all like, oh man, like what did I do with that? And he went off, and he kind of mule kicked, but not really, because I talked to you that night too. And went down over the bluff, and then I'm sitting there for a little bit. And then on the other side of the bluff, because I'm right in the middle of that, kind of between the two, I look over, and about 100 yards, I see another buck just making a scrape. And I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, the amount of time that it took him to go around and up, I'm like, I wonder if that's that deer. And he looks fine. I got the binos on him and everything too. I even tried barking so he would turn his head, because
I love that actually.
Because I just wanted to see, like, if you turn your head, I'll know exactly if you're that deer or not.
Right.
But he wouldn't do it. So
did he even hear you?
I don't think he did. I mean, he was the way it's set up, and then there's a cattle farmer down in the base. I'm actually hunting so it's my uncle-in-law's property in that woods, but they lease it, so you actually have to be careful. There's bulls in there too. So, but anyway, so they're used to commotion and everything with all that. But but yeah, so then I just, and the way it's so brushy and everything in there, so I got down, pulled out, and that was it. And then I went right back first thing in the morning, and I actually went back to that, left the stand, and went back in the exact same spot, brought a dummy arrow and shot that exact same, and it buried the arrow. So I'm like, all right. So then I started looking for blood, hair, nothing. Even got some permission from the neighbors, like, hey, I don't have any blood, but can I at least kind of like just go in this direction and stuff, just see if anything starts coming up. Nothing did. So I was pretty bummed. I went back home. Another buddy of mine shot a really nice buck, so I was helping him kind of butcher it up and everything. I was kind of down. He's like, hey, are you going to go out tonight? I'm like, I don't know. I'm kind of like a little bit deflated. But, I gotta get back in it and everything. So just go out.
Hey, at least you didn't snort wheeze at it and it just run off.
No, that's true.
Sorry, Scotty.
I'm not that stupid, but
Scott,
jeez, okay.
Scott's never gonna live this down.
Idiot, you dumb idiot. Scotty Snort Wheeze,
just the aggressor.
You know what? I don't even need this podcast.
I am the aggressor.
So dumb.
Scare everything.
I love it.
But yeah,
Daddy's the dominant buck. It's Daddy's house.
That deer was such a wuss. He just ran off.
Yeah,
it's not worth my time.
That's how Scotty judges
Scotty
his deer.
like flexes at him.
If they ran away or not.
Yeah, he's like, yep. He's one to go after. He's definitely scared of me. God, we're dumb. Okay.
But yeah, so then went back out. So that was Sunday. So it would have been the 7th. I just the way it was set up and the way I had all my stuff ready, I'm like, screw it, I'm just gonna go back to the vineyard. So, and I'm especially after the action that day, but part of me was like, I spent a lot of time that morning looking for that deer, but if the rut's on, it's on. Mm-hmm. So went back out and I put the stand probably 80 yards further south where I originally shot at that buck the night before, and got set up, and only 20 some minutes in, I had a doe run through and a nice like 125 inch buck come running through, 25 yards, and I'm just like, just not feeling it, but it was still, it was cool and everything. And then I don't know how many minutes later, I heard a grunt, look over, and right over the side of the bluff, this guy comes coming. I'm like, here we go. Like I didn't even have to think.
The one you shot at?
Nope, a different one.
Oh, a different one.
I'm like, he's a good one. And I saw him, I had a chance at him the year before, and I thought he got killed gun because the rumor had it. Because he was a nice buck then too, and I have some trail cam photos of him, but not as heavy, but he's super heavy. Was super heavy this year.
You recognize him right away?
Not right away, but as soon as he came in closer, I'm like, I know that buck.
Yeah.
So I drew. It was perfect because I knew exactly where he was going to follow, where those other two deer just came through. So and I ranged it before, so I knew exactly 26 yards. Drew back on him, and I literally said out loud, like, "Don't F this up. Like we're not doing this again. Yeah, this is going to be done." So I was perfect on everything, like. Because I think another thing I did with that other buck too is, just when you're starting to see deer again in the beginning of the season, you're not used to it. You make dumb mistakes.
You get excited a little easier.
I think I dropped my bow too quick.
Oh, I gotcha.
So
like looking for the shot or just whatever. Gotcha. Yeah.
So just made sure that everything was absolutely perfect and just did that squeeze off and just felt like Ross, like you are so done.
Yes.
You're so done.
Yeah. Ross, zap that prick right in the heart.
It was perfect. So even before the arrow got to him, I'm like, this is money. Went just complete pass through, mule kicked. I could see as soon as he was 5 yards into running, just pouring blood. And he ran out. He ran exactly 26 yards, and he's going down the drainage, and then he does a little wobble, and he tries to make it back up the bluff, and he just rolls right over. And I heard his last breath from the stand.
Oh, dang. So like the confirmation and everything there.
Yep. No brush in the way, just got to see the whole thing. And I'm like,
that's awesome.
Oh, it was just such a
good feel, especially after the miss.
Well, right? yeah, just to get that redemption again. It was just like, okay, like
the next day.
Just exactly around the same time, actually. So,
awesome, dude. Congrats.
So yeah, walking up to him on everything too, and he, I was definitely surprised by him because he looked like a good buck when I shot him, but when I actually got up to him and put my hands on him, like he was heavy.
He's heavy. Like his bases and up past his G1s are
on his left side at his base. It's almost got like that flat spot too. Yeah, which I don't even know how many inches wide that is, but it's crazy.
You have to bring him down next time.
I will. Tape on him. And he's a 9.2.
Really?
Yeah, he's got, because he's on his right side. He's got a split G2, and that's it's really cool the way that kind of bevels out and everything. So just a really cool deer. And I'm actually, when I get I'm getting a wall pedestal with him, I'm going to build the pedestal and everything, and I'm going to have on the post and everything some vineyard like grapes and stuff.
Oh, yeah, that's awesome, man.
You go to Hobby Lobby.
Yep.
Go to Hobby Lobby.
Getting the glue gun out and everything. Yeah. My wife's going to be like, "What are you doing?"
Getting crap. I'm on Pinterest. Leave me alone.
Yeah, you can drink some wine and talk about it.
But that was, especially because my daughter now, she's 2. And my kids are always used to, deer dead every year and being around them and everything. But they're getting to the age where they're starting to like, "Dad, you got to kill like big deer."
Yeah.
Like, we're past
we're not messing around anymore, Dad.
We're past the doe stage. Like my daughter will get upset, like, "What, you didn't get a buck tonight?" So yeah, it was.
I'm trying my best.
It's like, just automatically giving you shit when you get home.
Daddy's having a hard time, okay? Good thing this guy doesn't have kids that he knows about.
You snort wheezed at him, Dad.
Rookie mistake.
Yeah, you're going to the garage. Get out of the house.
No Peppa Pig for a week.
So that next day we got to do some really cool pictures, and I pulled the kids out of school early and everything.
Yeah,
so,
that's awesome.
Best memories right there, man.
Oh yeah.
I remember my dad picking me up from school with a buck, and the Geyer buck. I wasn't that young. I was a little older, but came and got me from school and didn't tell me that it was in his truck. It was a cool day. But yeah, they'll remember.
Giant.
Just a
Yeah,
mondo,
he probably pulled up like just I'm the king.
Yeah.
My dad was on top of the world. But,
Yeah.
but I think that's the stuff your kids will remember like crazy. You know, it's like, man, when you shot that buck, came and got me out of school. Because I'll tell you, I kill a buck, I'm going right to school and be like, hey, we're gonna go get lunch.
Hey, he's not feeling good. He's gonna come home with me.
Look at him. He's not feeling good at all.
He's laughing. Yeah, I've never seen him do that before.
I've
Never seen this kid laugh in my life.
Yeah.
That is a cool thing about New Glarus is a little bit more uppity and everything too. But I'm surprised with the school the way they are. That week, like in November, they were talking about deer. And one day when I had a doe, the teacher actually wanted to come out with Kate, my daughter, who's 2, and like, can we go see the deer and everything?
Oh, really?
So
Well,
it's cool. It's cool that community, like, like,
open-minded to it.
Yep. Like, you're getting picked up early because your dad got a deer. So it's cool
That's
to
super cool.
still see that. Like, you definitely won't see that in Madison, but
Yeah, I don't see that. I don't know. Illinois around here is cool. I'm surprised they don't do days off in Illinois and Iowa and stuff for like
Yeah, if I was a teacher, like,
season.
I'm coming with.
Right?
Hey, I want to see it too.
Yeah, I want to see it too.
Our school never did, but there was always a pile of kids.
That just took off.
I'm not going to school.
We had the high school I went to was technically year round, and so we got 2 weeks off every quarter.
Yeah.
However that works, and one of the quarters was October 1st. So
nice.
high school I'd hunt for 2 weeks straight.
Heck yeah.
And that was cool. That was the only good thing about high school, I think. But
Yeah.
I missed a lot of days shotgun hunting.
I would always take a week off in November
Yep.
and just disappear, and I would just let my teachers know, like, hey, I'm going to need to get caught up on homework because I won't be here.
Daddy's
Got
hunting.
caught up.
Daddy's hunting.
Daddy's hunting.
Just letting you know I'm not going to do any of this.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, all this math, not going to need it.
don't need math.
I'll get it done, I promise. Throws it in the trash can as he walks out.
Yeah,
Use to wipe the blood off your hands.
yeah. Well, boys, I appreciate you guys coming in and tell your buck stories.
Yeah.
I think it was a lot of fun.
Was.
Scotty, you're a funny dude. Nick, I'm glad to finally get you on one, man.
I am.
oh yeah, it was a blast.
And we're drinking coffee. Doug, you didn't have any. Oh, you have a
It's a
energy
little
drink.
pick me up.
A monster.
I'm gonna have another
I
coffee.
like
I
the
think.
morning recording. This is
Yeah.
nice.
We don't do them often, but they're a good time when we do them. I think.
It's something different because usually it's always after work and we're kind of exhausted and
Yeah, it's like we're kind of lively, and like going off a coffee buzz is fun.
yep.
So
I definitely have a caffeine high right now. I feel like I could run a mile.
yeah.
No, you can't.
Like, I kept grabbing my. I know.
No,
I
you
smoke
can't.
cigarettes and I'm like,
Hey, I
fat.
feel like I could. Physically, no, I couldn't.
I feel like yeah.
Mentally, I want to. It's
Mentally,
something I want to do.
Jeez.
Sorry.
Well, I think it's time to jump into a giant tracker segment here.
Yep.
I appreciate you guys listening. I appreciate you guys watching. Eric, I'm glad you're finally on Working Class on DeerCast.
I'm here, boys.
How's it feel?
It's awesome.
As we get moving forward, the first 10 roughly was kind of awkward scheduling, but as we get going, it's going to be a lot more of the full crew.
Need
So
to get in our groove a little bit.
yeah, it's getting in the groove. It's getting things kicked off, and this is all working towards that. So we're excited for the year.
Absolutely.
So, giant tracker segment. Thanks for tuning in. We appreciate you guys. Hey guys, giant tracker. Another segment. We have Bailey Pattin from Kansas, right?
Yep, Kansas.
How are you doing, man?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
I'm good. Thanks for doing this. I know we're both busy, so it was kind of tough to line up schedules, but that's a good thing, right?
Good problem to have.
Good problem to have. And you're probably just a busy guy because you're like killing big deer and appearances and stuff like that, I'm assuming.
Yeah, it's got a lot of publicity, but it's been cool. It's been real awesome to see all the congratulation texts and posts and everything like that. So it's been really cool.
Good. Hey, before we get going, what do you do for a living?
I work with Garmin here in Olathe, Kansas. Working the global supply chain operation side of things. So
very cool.
Yep.
Very
Just
cool.
started that, here probably 4 months ago. Graduated with my master's last year, finished up my college baseball career this last year. So
Dang.
it was nice, this fall having more time to hunt. And really, once people think, once you start working, you'll have as much time, but playing sports in college, it'll take time away from you, but it's been really, really cool this fall. So
Awesome, man. That's cool. That's an interesting job. It sounds like.
Yep. It's tough right now, but that's just how the world is going right now. So
yeah, well, I imagine too, once you get like the swing of things a little more, it'll just come be your day, So
absolutely.
So let's talk about this buck, man. It's a Kansas giant. Kansas, of course, everybody knows Kansas to me has always kind of been on the bucket list as like Kansas whitetail is one of the whitetail bucket list hunts, I think.
I would totally agree, man. It's growing up here has been, just a blessing. I started bow hunting probably when I was 14, 15. My brothers both do it. And it kind of got passed down from my grandpa. He's over in Illinois, on the Illinois-Indiana border. And he's got like 68 or 70 mounted deer on his wall.
No kidding.
So, he kind of passed on that passion to us. And he's like, when we first started, he's like, you guys got, great ground to do it, So we've, I've just started, ever since I was probably 14, 15, just gaining permission places, going to do work for people, really just do everything I can just to try to get as many spots and kind of keep those spots toned to how I want them. And this buck actually came off of a permission piece, super close family friend that, my dad grew up bird hunting it. They used to shoot pheasants up there. And, we just started deer hunting about, I'd say 6-7 years ago. And we really started putting food plots in, a couple years ago up there, and working on, like the habitat side of things.
Yeah.
And it's really paid off. I'm getting trail cam pictures now with, 15, 35 deer in them, at the same time in daylight. And, it's like, you see that stuff on TV, you're like, it's not, it's not real.
Yeah.
But, it really can be. You just got to put the work in and, just understand habitat management, stuff like that. And so that's actually been pretty cool. That particular piece is, 160 acres, I think. And, which is not big.
Yeah, it's not huge. It's good, but it's not massive,
Exactly. There's some Kansas pieces, I know some guys that got thousands of acres.
Yeah.
And, they can do, they can create it however they want. So you kind of got to, play with the card you're dealt. But, our place sets up pretty good up there. A lot of CRP, a lot of bedding.
CRP is fun to hunt. It sounds like so far, I mean, you haven't got too far on the property. It sounds like what I envision when I think of Kansas.
Yeah, man. It's, it's got those thick, hedge thickets. You can't even, I got to stand in there. I killed a deer 2 years ago there and in one of those thick, hedge thickets, and you can't even shoot, unless they're 20 yards because it's just so thick.
And it's probably fun to hunt because every deer you see is like, when you see it, it's like here.
Right there. Yeah. You don't even know it's there till within bow range. So really with this deer, we got a picture, to this day, I still think it's him. We got one picture last year of a deer. We knew he was, we could only see about one side of his rack. It was a huge 10-point sign. It would have been this side. And obviously that, this year he threw on this extra split inside.
Yeah.
But I was like, dude, that's probably a five-year-old deer. And we're hunting maturity. We're looking for age. Really even for antler quantity. My dad shot a 170-inch deer up there, probably 3-4 years ago. But, we really hadn't taken very many deer off that place. And so this was like, one of the first big ones we had. And he strolled through late November last year. One picture of him. I was like, man, we got to find, we're already tagged out, all of us. And, we were like, we got to find out, where he's living, stuff like that. So this summer we had the farmer put in beans to leave them standing. And we knew, all summer they'd be green, they'd be hitting them. And, sure enough, first picture we had this year was just this giant, and he's full velvet, and, he's running around with a bachelor group of bucks. And so, we started honing in on that area, and really, he was living all over the farm. I mean, 160 acres isn't that much for a deer to travel. So we set cameras up basically perimeter, and, we had them on two main spots. And all summer it was daylight, which is, and you're not used to seeing deer daylighting, but in the summer they're unpressured, they're on their patterns. Yep. We got beans everywhere. But we had put in a couple clover plots, a couple chicory plots, just little micro plots, thinking, late November, early November, maybe we'll catch him coming off the bedding. But really, the hunt, I was just so anxious to get in there.
Mm-hmm.
He was on the pattern. So, it was just basically counting down the days till September, I think like 8th was opening day or something.
Yeah. And that's quite a bit earlier. We're in Illinois, and October 1, is every year. So, I mean,
Kansas is early. It's like September 8th or 12th or something,
Yeah.
So we were like, we got a good chance to catch them, on the summer pattern still.
Mm-hmm.
Warm temperatures. It's, it's not what you're used to when you're bow hunting. But, my brother and I, he's a junior in high school. He's like, dude, I want to come with. And I'm like, yeah, we got double stands hung. Excuse me. So, we started hunting. I didn't go opening day because we were going to just play it as smart as we could. We knew he was there.
At this point, did you know how big the deer was roughly? Did you have a guess?
I was thinking I knew he was going to be high 80s, a gross score.
Yeah.
High 80s. I had somebody saying, do that deer is probably 95 plus. And really, we were looking at age. We're like, dude, he's fully mature.
Right. Yeah.
It's obvious. And he was just super cool looking. So our first hunt for him, we went in there, I think, I don't know what day that was, early September, probably like 15th of September. And, we didn't see him. We saw a couple does. They fed in the beans. We had good entry exit. And so we snuck out. And then we started getting pictures of him on one of our other cameras, which is just on a huge hedgerow. Mm-hmm. And so this hedgerow, what it does is, it protects the crops. And there was actually corn on one side and beans on our side. And so, it's just basically in the middle of nowhere. It was hedgerow with crops, and then it went to CRP and then back to our bedding. And he was coming from our bedding, from the CRP to, through that hedgerow, walking right down it. And we had pictures of him, daily. And so, we might have to hunt that, but we had to have a north wind, and, most of September is south.
Right.
So, we had to keep hunting our bean food plot, just hoping, with a south wind, hoping he'd come eat there. And our second time we actually went after him. We were sitting there, my brother and I, and we probably had another 30 minutes of light. And I looked up to the CRP and I could see his rat coming. It's him.
Of course,
when you see something like that coming through the CRP, you're like, no, that's him.
Right.
And we're sitting there and he's closing the distance. And, our wind kind of started swirling. So I was getting nervous.
Mm-hmm.
And I could tell he was kind of nervous coming in. He was kind of doing the little head lift and, throwing his nose in the air.
Doing big buck things.
I'm like, dude, he's going to smell us. And, he kept coming straight at us. And I'm like, he's definitely in range. I mean, he's probably at 45 at this point. And he's about to come out of the CRP into the beans.
He's at 45 yards at this point. So he's in there. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's getting in. And so then he steps into the beans and he's just coming, literally face straight at us. And I'm sitting there, I'm hooked on my D loop, and I'm like, it's going to happen. And I'm sitting there. I'm like, I'm not going to draw yet. I'm just going to be patient. We got plenty of time. We did not expect it to be early, this early.
Right.
And he just stood there, and he wasn't looking at us, but he was just kind of nose in the air, just kind of scanning. And I'm like, he's got to turn. And, I'm sitting there waiting to pull back. At one point he got to 34 yards, and I was like, that's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And he just really just turned completely 360 towards his butt was facing me and just started walking straight back to the CRP, not spooked or anything. He didn't even eat, just turned around and walked. I mean, he had to have caught a whiff or, got a bad pull to win something.
Deer like that, man, I feel like they catch, this sounds crazy, but big bucks, so you might know what I'm talking about. They can almost like sense the aura of you being there.
Yeah, it's crazy. It is crazy. And so we're sitting there, we were bummed that night. And I was like, you thinking about it prospectively, we didn't spook him back. He walked out. We watched him walk into the CRP. He was still, thrashing on some CRP. And
that's a win still.
Yeah, exactly. We had him in bow range.
Mm-hmm.
We had a deer
also
like
frustrating,
this.
But a win.
It's frustrating, but it's a win. And so we had planned on going up there that first week in October. And, I was like, I'm not going to hunt mornings. It's still early. We don't want to booger them. And we started getting pictures of them on that hedgerow. And so that hedgerow acts like there's no way you could access that in the mornings, because we would have to walk straight through the beans, and that's where they are all night.
Yeah.
So, and we had daylight pictures of them. We left on Friday night from my parents' place. I picked my brother up. We were just driving to the farm. We weren't going to get there in time to hunt Friday, but we had daylight pictures of him in front of that stand on Friday night. So we were like, this is awesome.
Getting excited. Yeah.
Yeah. And we're sitting there. We get to the cabin. Got a little, double wide trailer right there on that property that we can stay. So it's super cool. And we're sitting there in the trailer. We're like, dude, do we just try to hunt in the morning? Like, do we risk it? And eventually I was like, no, we're not going to do it. It's, of course, I wake up, 6 a.m. on Saturday, and, we got the cell camera starts texting me, and he's there broad daylight right in front of that stand. But I'm like, I still don't think we could have got in there.
Yeah, you could have bumped him going in, and then he never would have been there. Yeah, that's what you got to tell yourself anyway.
So that's what I kept telling myself, even though, we're kind of kicking ourselves. We're like, dude, we're within 700 yards of this deer right now, sitting in the cabin. And he's right there 10 yards from our stand. But, we were like, we're just going to go in there early. So we went in there it was October 2nd, and we went in there early on that Saturday. And, we had an awesome hunt. I think we ended up seeing like 13 or 15 does. They filtered out early. And, it's just one of those nights where you're like, dude, it's going to happen. Something's going to happen. We saw a little buck, and he came out of the CRP and then got kind of like right on the hedgerow we were sitting in. And he was probably about like 80 yards from us. And we knew he was coming our way. And we'd had pictures of that it was like a little spike or a little forky. And he was hanging around with this deer. And I was like, dang, man, he's not with him.
Right.
And
right.
so, we're like, dang it. And we're sitting there, and I can't remember what time sunset it was, but, shooting light was 30 minutes after sunset. And so at this point, we had like 10 minutes of shooting light left. And I'm like, dude, it's got to happen. And my brother's sitting in a hang on right above me, kind of on the backside of the tree. And I'm like, turning up. I'm like, you see anything? And we were like making eye contact, and we hear a twig snap underneath of us. And we both put our head down, and this deer is right underneath us.
No way.
10 yards. He was at 10 yards when we first saw him.
How did he slip in on you? Like, was it
we
windy?
have no idea. It wasn't too windy. I mean, it's probably 7-8 mile an hour wind.
Yeah, it's like no wind is what I consider that.
We could hear the does probably 50 yards out in the beans walking around. The beans were kind of drying up at that point. And this guy, he snuck in right on us. And I grabbed my bow and I hooked on, and I'm like, dude, he was just right behind a little evergreen for me at 10 yards. And I'm like, he just needs to take, 3 more steps. And, it feels like an eternity when you're sitting
of course,
locked on. And he started walking. So I drew, didn't even have to stop him. He stopped, and I got the Garmin, the zero, sight for my bow. So I ranged him as, I've got full draw, and he was 6 yards, and it was like a negative 48 degree angle or something, like straight down.
Yeah.
And so I buried the pin, he was kind of quartering away. So I buried the pin like back rib, like top back rib, and just squeezed it off. And it hit him hard. At that point, all we could see was light knock go into him. And the arrow stayed in him, and he whirled around, mule kicked, and took off straight back towards our CRP and back towards that thick timber. And we were in shock.
Yeah, I bet.
Like, we high-fived one time, and like we didn't say a word, and we were just like listening and watching. And then, a minute went by, and we were like, no way. And we just started freaking out in the stand, and we were trying to be quiet.
I bet.
I'm holding on to my safety harness, and he's you like might fall out of the stand. And we were like, dude, this is crazy. And it was only me and my brother up there.
Did he film you? Did he film it?
He was trying to, and he filmed them coming in on his phone. We just had it on our phone.
Yeah.
And the video looks good. And then as he's swinging the camera, it caught like a limb that was closer, and it focused, and then it went like black. it looks like, yeah.
Yeah.
But you can tell when he's coming in, it was definitely shooting light, and it would have been good camera light still, but he wasn't really, he wasn't going to say anything to me.
Oh yeah. Hey, don't shoot him. Don't shoot him.
when I'm at full draw,
Right.
So, we made a plan. I called my dad and told him, and we're like, dude, we're just going to go down and double check, see if there's blood. And then we're just going to go back to the cabin.
Yeah.
So we literally climbed down, and, we scanned the grass. There's good blood. We got back to the cabin, started calling some buddies. We were like, all right, do we go after him tonight? What do we do? And, it was going to get down to, mid 40s or mid 40s, low 40s that night.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, I don't know. It all happened so fast. I don't want it to be a one long hit. And then we push him. And, he goes a county over, and you got to fight permission and all this stuff.
Yeah.
I was like, let's just get everybody there first day, at daylight the next morning. Let's go track them. So that's what we did.
Let me guess, you slept like a baby.
Oh, dude, I didn't sleep a lick. I'm sitting there, and I'm like, I don't know why, but you're telling your mind to remember it better than what you can remember it. I'm like, I have to remember exactly where, and you just don't. And
I think there's so much going on, and then if you don't see the deer physically go down, always, no matter what, you're like, oh crap. It's just the way it is, I think.
Yeah, exactly. It can be with any deer, and then with one this caliber, it's you're doing everything. And so we trail him that next morning, and he actually went probably it feels a lot longer when you're going through that thick hedge stuff.
Yeah,
but he actually went back into the timber and then busted straight out into the standing corn. So we recovered him he was in the standing cornfield.
No kidding.
So he busted back out into the standing corn, which was odd. But there was some waterways with some. I think there's water down in there. So I think he was trying to get there. He didn't make it that far.
How far was it total, if you had to guess?
I'd probably say 180, 200 yards maybe.
Yeah.
But it's when you're going through that thick stuff, it's really hard to tell.
Yeah, definitely.
And you could tell he was just going, no beds.
Right. He was on a death run pretty much.
Yeah.
Did you have any doubt? Were you getting nervous on the trail at all? Were you like,
I did get really nervous. So we had good blood. We hadn't found the arrow. Then I did find the arrow, and it was clean. Not a drop of blood on it. I don't know and it fell out right on the edge of the CRP in the timber on a mowed path.
Yeah.
So I don't know if a coyote came along and licked it clean. I'm telling you, because after the arrow came out, then you start seeing good blood. It's coming out at that point.
You know what I mean? It could have been a possum ran up to it and just licked it clean, and then
you have no idea. Yeah, I mean, you could see some fat, like some of the fat residue that you'll get after you try to clean them off, the arrows off. But we're like, what in the world? So that got me worried. But we were still on good blood, so I was like, okay, I'm not going to think too much into it. We left the arrow where it was, but we recovered, and we had, my mom, my dad, my two brothers, and my girlfriend and the farmer. We were all there, so that's when the celebration began.
Oh yeah, I bet.
He's got, we scored him, and he went 201 rough, just like a gross score.
Yeah, green gross score.
Yeah, he'll get officially scored, I think, in February. And I just got the skull cap now because I'm doing a pedestal mount. It'll be pretty cool. I'm doing one of the hedge trees from that hedgerow that we shot him on. Yeah. So
show them off a little bit, man. That's for people listening on the audio version of this. You got to get in DeerCast and watch the video version. Man, that is a true giant. And he's
I mean, you can see. I mean, my pinky to thumb is 7 inches, and he's got 3-4 on that.
Good twos, good threes, good fours.
Yeah, he's got this split coming off the inside here.
Yeah.
His mask is really what got me. He looked spindly in the trail cam pictures. And when I saw him that first time we had that first encounter, that's what I could tell. I mean, if you look at this side over here,
right?
I mean, it's every bit of, I think, I don't know what it measured at. I got the score sheet somewhere.
But the mass matches his like structure, I guess.
Exactly.
Definitely.
Exactly. But I mean, this side's just got things going on everywhere. It's kind of even hard to show it.
It's a beautiful buck, man.
This coming off the inside, but yeah, he's
that right split too. He's got is cool because how deep that split is awesome.
Oh, it comes all the way down to. At one point I was like, I wonder if they'll count this as two separate points.
Yeah.
You're like, give me that mass measurement. That'd be sweet.
No kidding, right? That's awesome, man.
I've shot good deer before. I killed a 173-inch 10-pointer spot and stock out in western Kansas 2 years ago. That's a big buck. That's a big 10-pointer. And he was a stud. I've killed, I think 3 or 4, 4 or 5 actually 160 plus caliber deer from my bow. But nothing's gonna compare to this one.
Yeah. Well, I like in the beginning you mentioned you get permission pieces, but you had to put in work to get permission pieces, and you're offering work and doing like you're working to upkeep your permission on these pieces.
Exactly.
And I do the same thing, so I can relate to that with some of the pieces I have. And a lot of people just think, well, he's lucky because he gets people let him hunt in these spots. Like, well, when you're watching football, I'm mowing paths and taking care of ground for a farmer to let me hunt. So it's we joke around on the podcast and say those are the must be nice guys. That's fine. Let them be the must be nice guys. So.
Oh yeah, you don't know. I mean, how many comments of those guys? It must be nice to pay somebody to let you come shoot deer like that, or like, of course, dude. I've been, some of these pieces I got permission on. I've been, cutting firewood for them, or just doing chores around their house. Cleaning gutters. Well, I mean, just stuff that people need help with, and
Definitely.
it's just a token of appreciation. For letting us enjoy what we want to do. Using their land to do it. It's all about being respectful.
Of course, yeah.
And, good things happen to good people is what we've always said. And so if you just treat people with respect and just put in hard work, good things will happen. And I really think 100%. This is a testament to it, man. It's been rewarding to shoot this deer, but almost more rewarding is still on the same farm where we put in these food plots and all that work in the summer is seeing those trail cam pictures come in. There's 8 yearling does and like 7 more mama does
being utilized by everybody.
Yeah. And they're just run. I mean, they're safe, they're healthy, the herd is healthy. It's just cool to see it. It's not like we're complete conservationist, but we're doing our best.
Yeah, of course. You care for the animal, man. And we're on DeerCast here, so everybody here gets that. Yeah. I would say most people do. It'd be weird if they didn't and subscribe to DeerCast, but shout out to you if you're here. But yeah, people just think on the outside we just look like we're killers and they don't get it. People who get into it understand like we care about deer on a level that it's hard for someone not into it could even comprehend. So,
I 100% agree.
But man, well deserved on a big giant buck. You're obviously a big buck killer. You care about what you do, and I appreciate the hustle, man, and sharing that story with me.
Yeah, man, I really appreciate you having me. DeerCast has been huge, for my success too. I did one of the Giant Tracker articles for DeerCast, and everything I said was true. Like we literally used it, before we hunt. Look at the pressure because it's hard to find barometric pressure and all that stuff.
Yep.
And really interpret what it means. Like, to be honest with you, I don't even know what it, how it affects deer. I just, I look at what DeerCast says and, that'll take care of it for me.
It's like it's like a Swiss Army knife for like,
it literally is.
It really is. Cause I'm with you on that. Cause I like to see it where at the top of the DeerCast app, everyone here knows, of course, but and this audio version goes out. Those people might not know, but the way it's laid out, it's all right there at the top. So it's not like you have to like check 5 different apps to get what you need. It's all right there on top. And then it gives you like the formula, whether or not that's good or bad. So you kind of learn it as you look at it. So I know what you're saying.
Exactly. So like I said, that's been a good tool for us, but our whole family keeps up with everything you guys are doing over here with jewelry and stuff. And you guys do, great productions and love all the videos and hunts and stuff. So
yeah, they're the best.
So keep up the good work there, and yeah, I'm anxious to hear some more of these giant tracker segments.
Hell yeah, I'm excited. It's cool getting to talk to everybody that's killed like a super big buck. And it's everyone we've interviewed so far, just good red-blooded American, and they all have like great work ethic. And so it's averaging out to show, like you said, good things happen to good people, and hard work makes good opportunity. So,
exactly.
Well, cool, man. Well, I appreciate taking the time. Real quick, it's funny. I just have to show this off only because it's here. My buddy Austin Chandler is coming to the studio here. He should be here any minute, actually. But I picked up his rack for him. He just killed this buck. Time we're recording this 2 weeks ago. As I drop it, he just shot this.
Oh, dude.
It's a 190, 189 and 4/8.
Dude, that's gnarly. Look at the hole in that main beam.
From a
fly or something.
Yeah, the bot fly hole sounds vulgar, but it's not.
That's crazy.
But yeah, I measured him up. I'm an official measurer, and I put the tape on him. The day he found it, he let it go overnight, and it got destroyed by coyotes, which is why he left it 16 hours and it was gone. 100% loss. Like, just a huge bummer. But the thing, you can see how freaking big it is. It's just
huge. Yeah.
Framey with a drop.
Yeah.
So
these big deer, the frames are just, it's what gets you.
Look at that. You don't see that on a Zoom call very often. A 200 something inch and a 190.
That's not something you're going to get very often of.
You don't get that at your work meeting in Zoom usually. So pretty cool. I just had to show it off because I have it here, and
that's sweet.
Why not?
Yeah, exactly.
I killed a 166 inch buck, and then I feel like when this thing's in studio, I got to keep him hiding. I got him here. Since we're sharing, we're running a little long, but that's all right. There's mine. But it's kind of
that's awesome. Yeah.
So he looks like a 2-year-old compared to the one I just held up.
No, he's got all that traction on that base.
Yeah, he's
that's awesome.
Got a bunch of funky stuff. I actually didn't even see.
Yeah.
This point, it's hard to see on the call, but
yeah, it's all down into his fur, I bet, right there.
Yeah. I saw the top. It kind of looks like just like a king crab type setup, but
that's cool, man.
Anyway,
congrats on that. That's a stud.
Thanks, man. Sharing big bucks, so lots of fun.
Yeah.
Well, cool, man. Well, I appreciate doing this. Hey, if you want to shout out like your Instagram or give anybody a shout out or do anything like that, go ahead.
Yeah. If you want to, follow me on Instagram, it's BP_4 on Instagram. And, I'd really just like to shout out, all those serving our country. Just thank them for what they do. We wouldn't be doing this if they weren't doing what they're doing. So
100%.
That's something that hold dear to my heart. So
awesome,
man.
Man.
I do appreciate you having me. It's been cool.
Of course, man. Hopefully we run into each other at a show, or we'll get together or something like that at one of the consumer shows or something this year, maybe.
So, absolutely. That'd be cool.
Awesome. Iowa Deer Classic. Do you hit that one up?
I haven't been to the Iowa one yet, no, but I have done the Kansas one, and then I'm looking at doing a couple more here. Actually trying to do a few with Garmin here. So
cool. Awesome, man.
Ones, so yep.
Very cool. Well, thank you so much, man. Everyone, thank you so much for listening and watching. Hope you enjoyed this giant tracker. A lot of big bucks just popped in at the end there, which hard to complain about. So, all right, guys, you know what to do. Go shoot a giant. We appreciate you.